Hey, it's me shooting another video. I'm still working on trying to get this whole down shoot thing happening. I'm gonna get some equipment, don't worry about it. But it's gonna happen. But I still keep getting this down where it just looks like I'm looking down. It's because I'm still looking down. Don't worry about it. So I'm back doing this video. This is gonna be a tougher video to shoot, tougher commentary to do, because the two I'm doing the Counting Crows commentary and the Christmas playlist commentary as one big conversation. This the idea behind it was to do a Counting Crows retrospective and do a Christmas topic list at this as two separate lists. Um, One of the interesting things that happened last night, I was having a conversation with some friends of mine talking about this idea, this concept of what I was doing. And a good friend of mine, Dom, was like, "Hey, so you're talking about bands and things you like, that you're passionate about, uh, and that the challenge was going to be writing about things or talking about things that you didn't necessarily have an affinity for or have a passion about, like writing about bands that you didn't like." I want to do that, but I think the concept of what I was trying to do with this channel is, I'm looking up at the list because I'm going to talk about it. The idea was to take a topic, whether it was love or sex or death or funerals or uh, politics or Grammy winners who got snubbed, or songs that probably should have won Grammys that got snubbed, which is a list I've actually been talking about doing for a couple of videos now. And putting the song list together, and that's been a different process each time that I've done it. And as you're doing it, then you put the list out and you talk about the list. And you talk about why the list is important, why are some of the songs important, and what the two topics are really about. And I'm trying to do it within the span of a limited amount of time because I want viewership. Like, I don't want it to be like, oh, he talked for 45 minutes about this, this random band and didn't really say anything. So I want to try to get as much content and information in, say, 15 or 20 minutes as I can do without just droning on. And it shouldn't be really longer than the playlists themselves. So I want to talk about the band Counting Crows for a quick second. I got introduced to this band by my friend Elisa Craigie on the best first date that I've ever been on, where she sang time and time again to me, which was just amazing. And that's how I got introduced. Got home and was all in the, ooh, I really like this girl. And I was like, who is that band? Like, what is that song? And this is in the 90s, like before the internet. So you had to, take the lyrics, like, well, before the internet as we know it now, but you had to take the lyrics and you go out and you can't Google it because Google isn't a thing yet. But you have to go find the band and then dig into what album it's on, all that kind of stuff. So that's how I got introduced to Counting Crows. The song "Time and Time Again" is on this list. It's later in the list. The band's really good. They were formed uh, in San Francisco. Do some quick synopsis of, here's the history of Counting Crows. Doing this on the fly because I hadn't really planned to do like a synopsis of who that band is. You can go look that up. The big takeaway from the list is, and the big reason I wanted to do this band, yeah, they were formed in Berkeley in '91. Actually, ironically, she lived in Berkeley. Interesting. Come back to that later. But so they were formed in Berkeley in '91. They released their debut album in '93. The thing I did with this list is the thing I do with every list. I don't play the hits. And one of the conversations we had last night was, why don't you play the hits if you're going to get people to listen to this, like to look at the playlist, to listen to the channel? One of the reasons I stay away from the hits in well-known bands is most of the hits are overplayed. And I say overplayed when I tell you the list of songs that I stayed away from, you'd be like, oh, I've heard that song. I love A Long December. I've spent too many Decembers in hospitals to not relate to that song. That song is overplayed. Um, I love Round Here, which is the first single off August and Everything After, and I love it enough to not want to hear it all the time, and I didn't want to include it in this. If I was introducing you to this band, hey, I love this band, and what inevitably has happened to me before is I'll introduce people to a band and they'll be like, oh, but I've heard that song, and then they have a feeling about that song. So I stayed away from those. The songs I included, I try to include the best songs that showcase that band as musicians and Adam as a songwriter. And a lot of his songs deal with his struggle with anxiety, his struggle with fame, and struggle with uh, agoraphobia, like really just not wanting to go outside and deal with people. I think they're a much better live band as far as the songs that they do than they are. I think they're a great studio band. The songs that they do translate very well live. And to cut to that chase, because we're at 6 minutes, the last three songs on the album come from what I think is their best live album, and one of the literal best live albums that I've ever heard, which is Across the Wire, that was done at Chelsea Studios in New York in '97. That album is amazing, and one of the things that they do on that album that I have not heard other bands do live, even jam bands that should really be doing this live, is they'll take songs in their catalog and intersperse them. I heard them intersperse Children in Bloom, which is on this record, which is on this list, and other songs from Recovering the Satellites, and just they'll flow as one song. I think it's amazing. I had Chelsea on last. I think Chelsea is their prettiest song. I think Chelsea is their best. It's their best song. I love that the version of Anna Begins that's on this list. And I relate. The interesting thing, one of the reasons I love this band is I relate to a lot of the songs they've done because I feel like I've lived some of those songs. But one of the reasons I wanted to include this with the Christmas playlist is that during this time of the year, you end up in your own head. 9 times out of 10, where you get depressed, you start thinking about, are my Christmas decorations good enough for the people who are going to come over? You get lonely, you get just down. This is a time of year where it's just, and some of it's seasonal affective disorder because you're not getting as much light, not getting as much sunlight. Some of it's just, this year's just crappy for people because people have died during Christmas or they've had bad experiences during Christmas. So I felt like a lot of the music that Adam does, a lot of the lyrics that Adam tends to write, is about that mental struggle, not just at Christmas time, but all the time. The mental struggle of loss, whether it's relationships or friendships, or even just loss of yourself, which is what I Dream of Michelangelo is about, which is I don't think on this list actually. I meant to put it on this list and I didn't because I didn't feel like it fit the flow of this record. That song and Ballad d'Or, which I listened to today, when I heard them do Saturday nights and Sunday mornings as an entire set live, were songs that I did not even think about putting on here. I'm probably going to use them on another list because it's what he talks about those songs being about, I think fits other topics. The Christmas list, I tried to do, as just pure Christmas songs. Most of them are modern Christmas songs that I've been surrounded by for years. And they've always been kind of part of my own personal Christmas playlist. Generally speaking, they're upbeat songs. They are, I try to stay away from songs that are like really just sad and down during Christmas time. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to have it be upbeat and happy. I didn't, for obvious reasons, I did not do Last Christmas because I did not want to send anybody to Wham Holla. So I stayed away from that. There's a bunch of country songs that I thought about putting on the Christmas list. I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to cry. There are the Little Red Shoes song. There's a bunch of them that when you hear them, and they're all the same type of song in that someone's down on their luck or something's going on, and you know the Christmas spirit happens, or it doesn't happen, and you just end up just bawling your eyes out at the end. And I'm just like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm just, if it's a list that people are gonna listen to and play, we're not doing that. I did include "So This Is Christmas" by John Lennon because it's just, that's an iconic song, and it's a song that I didn't, as a kid, I didn't get it until I fell in love with the Beatles, I guess, when I was 8. It was after John Lennon had gotten shot. It's 8 or 9. And I had, because I wasn't born, and I just missed that whole Beatles thing. So when I discovered it, it was like, oh, I'm upset about this now, even though it maybe happened a year or two ago when I really like got into the Beatles. It's like, oh, this, somebody's killed Hinckley. Like, I was upset. It was bad. Um, I had to include Christmas in Hollis, which was the kind of the weird one on this list because I didn't know how to. It's the only rap song. It's only good Christmas. It's a well. What I found out later is that there are a bunch of Christmas rap songs that you don't like. Doesn't make any sense. Um, but it's on Christmas Hollis is on the Die Hard soundtrack, so it was going on the Christmas record. But the lead-in song to that I did was DMX doing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and you have not lived until you've heard X drop this beat. Like, do these lyrics. I really want him to do like a whole Christmas record. Like, I need this to happen. Because he brings the party up vibe to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. You need to hear it. Um, I added. I almost put in some Mannheim Steamroller songs in here, but I did not want to do that, and I need to take that last song off. I included the Christmas song because I think everyone should hear the Christmas song, and I think the Christmas song by Dave Matthews embodies what Christmas is about and what the actual idea is, which is the birth of Jesus. Watching the FX version of A Christmas Carol, Scrooge goes into the whole thing of, there's no way he was born in Palestine. There's no way it happened in the winter. That's not what this video was about necessarily. I think that just the idea of whether Christmas has gotten commercialized, whether we've missed the idea that it's the time that people get together during the latter half of harvest season because it's cold and we're all huddled up in our houses and no one wants to hang out. So this is the excuse to hang out. However it happened, it happens. It is the one day a year where people try to get together and just be cool, even though some people now are just like, no, we have to interject politics into Christmas. We have to never have any surcease. Look that up, Jim Ross. Jim Ross actually taught me that word, surcease. Look that up if you don't know what it means. It's awesome. From everything else that happens the rest of the year, I think that's horrible. I think that's agenda driven, and I think that's not what we should be trying to do. If we're going to be better people, if we're going to get out of the depression that happens to people during this time of year, then you got to keep it light. You got to keep it about just having a good time and being cool and shaking hands and hugging each other, and because there's only so many Christmases you're going to get. And that's really one of the things that to kind of tie the two things together as I begin to wrap this up. It's one of the things that Adam talks about in a lot of his work is one of the underlying themes that he touches on is regret, especially on Saturday nights and Sunday mornings, is that there are all these times where you screw up in your life. There are all these times where you miss the thing that's in front of you, which is what A Dream of Michelangelo is about. That you want this thing that you're reaching out, you're trying to grab it, this ideal person or this ideal job or this ideal situation. And there is no ideal situation. There is no ideal, there is no real future. There is literally just the present. There's the person that is in front of you who's in love with you and you're not seeing it. There's the person that is your friend that needs help that you're missing because you're running past them. There are these blind spots in people's lives that they're not paying attention to. And that's what that song is about. And that's kind of one of the underlying themes of his work is the blindness that he's had in his own life to people and friends and situations and his band even. And that's one of the things that Christmas is supposed to kind of put back into focus is the people in your lives and the moments in your lives that are tangible because they're intangible, because you're not going to, you can put them on video, you can write songs about them, but you're never going to get them back. There's so many people I think about now that I used to hang out with or that I have spent Christmases with that aren't around anymore because they died or they moved away or we don't talk or we're enemies or whatever. And because I personally don't nation build with people, I don't go back. Those people are lost to me. They're lost in the sands of time. And that's what Adam talks about, that sometimes that happens. And sometimes I guess Christmas is about trying to take the sands of time and make sandcastles out of them and try to rebuild the things that you lose. Sometimes you can do that, sometimes you can't. But that's the idea of a lot of Christmas songs is the idea of redemption, the idea that you can come back from the things that you lost. And there are a lot of songs that Adam does in that vein too that are about coming back from the darker places. And there's some songs that are on both lists that are funny and hilarious, like Why Should You Come When I Call, which is about what you think it's about. When you hear it, it is literally, he says it's about what you think it's about. And it asks you the question, I'm going to call you for whatever reason, however it is going to work out. But why do you come when I call you? So, but that's it. That's the two lists together. I don't know that any of the songs on either list will make you cry, but if they do, let me know in the comment section because I want to actually know how'd you get to that emotion. Not that some of those songs haven't made me cry in the past. It's situational. It happens to people. Still trying to find a name for this channel. Still trying to put this all together. It is Boxing Day in Canada. Happy Boxing Day to those of you who are watching this days later. I'm recording this on Boxing Day, so if I wasn't there, I wasn't there. I'm sorry. Happy birthday to people who are born on this day, like Elisa. And a few of my friends, I think, have birthdays today, which I've already wished on Facebook. So yeah, like, share, and subscribe to this video and the playlists. And like, these playlists are not definitive. This is not the law. This is not, this is the way it is. Next year I'm going to do a Christmas playlist, and probably hopefully only a couple of these songs will be on the playlist. So if you got any questions, hit me up on Facebook. I might do a video answering questions. Give me some ideas for topics, because I don't want to just keep talking about bands of people I like. Because I want to kind of expand what we do here. And I'm going to try to get this whole downshot thing figured out. I'm going to get, one of the things I want to do in New Year is get like some equipment so we can actually do a lot better job on these. Because I think I like this idea. I want to start a second channel where I talk about other topics like history or current events, or maybe expand this topic. This channel does not cover playlists and topics, and maybe cover music in general, music news or whatever. If that's cool, if that's something people want to see, let me know. So I'm trying not to prattle on too long. I'm already anyway. So with that, I'm gonna step out of here and do some other stuff today. Be good or be good at it. Later.